been broke all my life, but I kept hope all them nights. You see business in my city? Yeah, they closed all them twice. I was just riding down Salem, all them damn potholes, I can't drive. I know y'all can fix it faster, but I know y'all won't try. Don't nobody care about us, and that's why I don't vote. Voted for Obama back in 2012, I remember that's when I had hope. He was saying, yes, we can, and everybody got less food stamps. And when I turned 21, I was still broke, I'd never vote again. I don't think I ever had a president make my life better. Did it all on my own, ain't no politician ever do a nice gesture. I don't even know the mayor's name, I ain't never seen her one time ever. Tell me how she gonna help the city. What I'm supposed to do, write letters? What I'm supposed to do, blame Trump? He ain't never really gave a ain't nobody raised minimum wage. None of these jobs pay enough. I think they just want to keep us broke, cause they ain't putting none in place for us. This how all my people feel, but we gotta learn. We complained enough, let me change it up. Everything I just said, everybody I know think the same way. See, they don't want to see us vote, and we never do, so we see the same thing. But all our votes really do count, and they'll never really let it show. So now I'm finna break it down, cause if I don't, you would probably never know. First thing first, you know back in middle school when they taught us, it was 3 branches of the government. We forgot it when we got older. It's the judicial, the legislative, and executive. But all we know is the executive. That's the mayor, or the governor, and the president. Now none of them 3 people make no laws, they just be checking them. The laws come to their desk and all they do is say no or yes to it. So when the news station tried to tell us that Barack Obama couldn't put us on, we was all salty at Obama when it was the Congress members all along. We gotta focus on the legislative branch, yeah, they the ones that make the laws. Yeah, they the ones write how much food stamp money you get on the card. But when people that wanted to help us wanted the job, I know they probably lost. Cause we ain't even know their name, we ain't know their face, we ain't know it all. So the Congress or the State House, that's legislative, they make laws. So what we want from the president is what they do, okay y'all? See, they election every 2 years, but we don't ever even go to those. The Congress, they can raise minimum wage, but we ain't even really know it though. So you know how back in 08, when we all voted for Obama, we was all supposed to go back in 2010 and vote for the Congress. Cause they the ones make child support laws, they the ones choose if your kids at school get to eat steak or corn dogs. The State House make the court calls. So if the country failed, then you can't say it's them, it's your fault. Cause y'all ain't know to vote for Congress members that was for y'all. And they don't gotta leave after 4 years, and we just let them sit. See, they don't wanna tell you this, they want you to focus on the president. Now the 3rd branch is the judicial, that's judges. They the reason why John Crawford and Trayvon ain't had justice. So when Meek Mill got locked up just for popping willies, we blame the judge and not the city when they let her get voted in, cause they ain't know who to vote against. Imagine life on the other side. Roads better, schools better, everybody get their license back, grocery store food better, custody of your kids back, homeless people get new shelters. If we gon' fix the U.S., we gotta start with them 2 letters, me and you. Somebody told us that the government wanna keep us broke, but the only reason why those people in the government is cause we ain't vote. And I ain't talking about the president, I'm talking about the ones we ain't know. See, they was gonna try to keep it low, but it's gonna hurt them when they see the pros.
Every time you stay home, someone is making a decision about you, making decisions about the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food your kids eat, and how much money you bring home every 2 weeks. So every time you sit out an election, every time you don't show up because you think it doesn't matter, someone else is happy that you didn't show up, so they can make that decision for you. Vote.
Enough electoral votes, more than 270, more than enough to become the 44th President of the United States. He will be the first African-American President of the United States.
I've been broke all my life, but I kept hope all them nights. You see business in my city? Yeah, they closed all them twice. I was just riding down Salem, all them damn potholes, I can't drive. I know y'all can fix it faster, but I know y'all won't try. Don't nobody care about us, and that's why I don't vote. Voted for Obama back in 2012, I remember that's when I had hope. He was saying, yes, we can, and everybody got less food stamps. And when I turned 21, I was still broke, I'd never vote again. I don't think I ever had a president make my life better. Did it all on my own, ain't no politician ever do a nice gesture. I don't even know the mayor's name, I ain't never seen her one time ever. Tell me how she gonna help the city. What I'm supposed to do, write letters? What I'm supposed to do, blame Trump? He ain't never really gave a ain't nobody nobody raise minimum wage. None of these jobs pay enough. I think they just want to keep us broke, cause they ain't putting none in place for us. This how all my people feel, but we gotta learn. We complained enough, let me change it up. Everything I just said, everybody I know think the same way. See, they don't wanna see us vote, and we never do, so we see the same thing. But all our votes really do count, and they'll never really let it show. So now I'm finna break it down, cause if I don't, you would probably never know. First thing first, you know back in middle school when they taught us, it was 3 branches of the government. We forgot it when we got older. It's the judicial, the legislative, and executive. But all we know is the executive. That's the mayor, or the governor, and the president. Now none of them 3 people make no laws, they just be checking them. The laws come to their desk and all they do is say no or yes to it. So when the news station tried to tell us that Barack Obama couldn't put us on, we was all salty at Obama when it was the Congress members all along. We gotta focus on the legislative branch, yeah, they the ones that make the laws. Yeah, they the ones write how much food stamp money you get on the card. But when people that wanted to help us wanted the job, I know they probably lost. Cause we ain't even know their name, we ain't know their face, we ain't know it all. So the Congress or the State House, that's legislative, they make laws. So what we want from the president is what they do, okay y'all? See, they election every 2 years, but we don't ever even go to those. The Congress, they can raise minimum wage, but we ain't even really know it though. So you know how back in 08, when we all voted for Obama, we was all supposed to go back in 2010 and vote for the Congress. Cause they the ones make child support laws, they the ones choose if your kids at school get to eat steak or corn dogs. The State House make the court costs. So if the country failed, then you can't say it's them, it's your fault. Cause y'all ain't know to vote for Congress members that was for y'all. And they don't gotta leave after 4 years, and we just let them sit. See, they don't wanna tell you this, they want you to focus on the president. Now the 3rd branch is the judicial, that's judges. They the reason why John Crawford and Trayvon, they had justice. So when Meek Mill got locked up just for popping willies, we blame the judge and not the city when they let her get voted in, cause they ain't know who.
This episode of the Cab Grand Rising Show is brought to you by Autochthonous Assembly, where the real work gets done. For the first-time visitors who may be wondering who Autochthonous Assembly is, Autochthonous Assembly, or A2 for short, is a gathering of minds that do the work. A2 is a non-profit organization dedicated to raising up Indigenous Americans' voices by using genealogy, also known as family history or family tree. Genealogy is the study of families and the tracing of their lineages in history. Genealogists use oral interviews, historical records, genetic analysis, and other records to obtain information about a family and to demonstrate kinship and pedigrees of its members. Autochthonous Assembly's core values are the foundation of its company, essential to its success, and serves as the lens through which it evaluates every business decision. The core values are integrity, know and do what is right, respect, treating others the way you want to be treated, responsibility, embrace opportunities to contribute, servant leadership, serve the common good. Along with a key emphasis on genealogy, A2 is also committed to providing our communities with information and access to available grants and funding through the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the United States Department of Agriculture, the Farm Service Agency, and other departments and agencies that offer programs to help them become self-sufficient. Building on a strong community reputation, Autochthonous Assembly continues to strengthen the growth of the relationship and development of our communities. Peace and Grand Rising.
Warning, warning, warning. Hard hats, pickaxe, shovels, boots required.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings. Peace. Hope all is well.
Greetings, everyone.
Like we said, running a little bit late one of them days again, but we making it back this evening. Peace to everyone in all the chats on YouTube, Twitch, and our Tonkiness Assembly website. Appreciate everyone that's tuning in right now and those that'll be joining in a little bit. So how was your day so far, Gabrielle?
Really, really good. Very productive and accomplishing. How was yours?
Oh, pretty good. Census again. Basketball. Well, today we attached basketball to the census. So for every household I beat, they had to pass the census on to 2 more families. So.
Oh, you a glutton for punishment.
Oh no, you see I'm not breathing hard, so you know how that went.
I see. Okay.
You know, I'm 22 for like 5 more minutes.
Oh, I get it. Life goes.
When y'all be looking for me in 5 minutes on the air, don't worry. I'm on the ground when nobody can see me.
I get it. But that's what's up still.
Mm-hmm. I like why I still got the mobility. You know, I'm going to talk to the children, the young adults, the adults my age, and the ones older. Listen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it does affect everybody.
Like I said, don't tell me there's a way if you don't want me to use it. Don't tell me then.
Mm-hmm.
So other than that, another good day. Couple more people called in about the SBA, gave them the information and the link. So tomorrow we probably have some more people in the community that's getting funding from the SBA.
Good, yeah.
Mic check.
One, two,
Pepper Hall, she can't hear. Now, can we get ones in the chat to make sure all the sound and everything coming through cleanly before we move forward? Just a show of ones in the chat so we can make sure everyone can hear loud and clearly. Okay, see all the sounds and stuff coming through. Well, as you know, started yesterday, we said we're going to start coming back in the evenings and going through civics and actually breaking down different civic issues and topics because it is a subject that we need to be informed on in our community. And once we understand how this government works, then we can move efficiently. You know, once we know what agencies are responsible for what, when we have issues, we know exactly who to take our issues to so they can get addressed. And it's no longer a days of yelling and screaming at the wrong agencies, the wrong people, and your needs fall on deaf ears. So this is just our attempt to bring this information to our communities, and hopefully it can help someone.
Absolutely. Sound like a plan to me.
Let me grab this link and post it in the chat. Give me 10 seconds. Alrighty, we got the link in the chat. Got it on screen right now.
All right, I got it up. Want me to start reading?
Yeah. We can even take turns. If you ever get tight, just let me know and I'll take over.
Okay. The Bill of Rights, a transcription. Note, the following text is a transcription of the enrolled, excuse me, original of the joint resolution of Congress proposing the Bill of Rights, which is on permanent display in the rotunda at the National Archives Museum. The spelling and punctuation reflects the original. On September 25th, 1789, the first Congress of the United States proposed 12 amendments to the Constitution. The 1789 Joint Resolution of Congress proposing the amendments is on display in the rotunda in the National Archives Museum. 10 of the proposed 12 amendments were ratified by 3/4 of the state legislatures. On December 15th, 1791, the ratified Articles 3 through 12 constitute the first 10 amendments of the Constitution, or the U.S. Bill of Rights. In 1992, 203 years after it was proposed, Article 2 was ratified as the 27th Amendment of the Constitution. Article 1 was never ratified. Transcription of the 1789 Joint Resolution of Congress proposing 12 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. Congress of the United States begun and held at the City of New York on Wednesday, the 4th of March, 1789. The conventions of a number of the states, having at the time of their adopting the Constitution, expressed a desire, in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers, that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added, and as extending the ground of public confidence in the government will best ensure the benefits ensure the what is that? Beneficent ends of its institution. Resolved by the Senate and House Representatives of the United States of America, and Congress assembled 2/3 of both houses concurring that the following articles be proposed to the legislatures of the several states as amendments to the Constitution of the United States, all or any of which articles, when ratified by 3/4 of the said legislatures, to be valid in all intents and purposes as part of the said Constitution. These articles, in addition to and amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America, proposed by Congress and ratified by the legislature of several states, pursuant to the 5th article of the original Constitution. Article the first. After the first enumeration required by the 1st article of the Constitution, there shall be one representative for every 30,000 until the number shall amount to 100, after which the proportion shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall be not less than 100 representatives, nor less than one representative for every 40,000 persons, until the number of representatives shall amount to 200, after which the proportion shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall not be less than 200 representatives, nor more than one representative for every 50,000 persons. Um, 50,000 represents the cities. 50,000 represents the cities when it comes to not just eligibility.
But remember, these are two different timelines. This is at the time of the forming of the United States.
Got you. Okay. Article the 2nd. No law varying the compensation for the service of the senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. Article the third. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
Basically, summing up what we was talking about yesterday, some of
Right,
your grievances you don't take to Congress, you take to the executive branch, the proper ones, the proper departments.
right. Article the fourth. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Oh yeah, that's that one that got misinterpreted to the right to bear arms, but it's only dealing with militias, the National Guard,
Right.
state groups. That's what it actually deals with, not personal people.
Mm. Article the fifth. No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Article the sixth. The right of the people to be secure in the persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or the things to be seized. Article 7. Article the 7th. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Article the 8th. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Article the 9th. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of the trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. Article the 10th. Excessive bail shall not be required, no excessive fines imposed, nor cruel or unusual punishment inflicted. Article the 11th. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Article the 12th. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, or are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. Attest. Frederick Augustus Muhlenberg, Speaker of the House of Representatives; John Adams, Vice President of the United States and President of the Senate; John Beckley, Clerk of House of Representatives; Sam A. Otis, Secretary of the Senate. U.S. Bills of Rights. The preamble to the Bill of Rights. Congress of the United States begun and held at the city of New York on Wednesday, the 4th of March, 1789. The convention of number of states having the time of their adopting the Constitution expressed a desire in order to prevent. Oh, I read this. Okay. In order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers, the further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added, and as extending the ground of public confidence in the government will best ensure the beneficent ends of its institution. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives, United States of America, in Congress assembled two-thirds of both houses concurring. The following articles be proposed to the legislature of the several states as amended to the Constitution of the United States, all or any of which articles, when ratified by 3/4 of said legislature, to be valid to all intents and purposes as part of said Constitution, viz. Articles in addition to and amendments of the Constitution of the United States of America proposed by Congress and ratified by the legislatures of the several states pursuant to the 5th article of the original Constitution. Note, the following text is a transcription of the first 10 amendments to the Constitution in their original form. These amendments were ratified December 15th, 1791, and form what is known as the Bill of Rights.
Basically, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, as we've been saying, is the same thing.
Right. You want me to finish?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Amendment 2. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Article 3. No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Amendment 4. The right of the people to be secured in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. Amendment 5. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces, or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Amendment 6. In all criminal prosecution, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Amendment 7. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. Amendment 8. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. Amendment 9. The enumeration of the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Amendment 10. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it, to the states or are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Note, the capitalization and punctuation in this version is from the enrolled original of the joint resolution of Congress proposing the Bill of Rights, which is on a permanent display in the rotunda of the National Archives Building, Washington, D.C.
And I'm glad they showed you both the Constitution and the Bill of Rights so you can see they're exactly the same.
Right.
And that's for people that keep saying that there's two and it been hijacked and one's fours and this and that. No, it just was amended and became what you know as the Constitution.
Well, I mean, so for those saying that, okay, I'm not even going there. Never mind.
I mean, go ahead.
I mean, did they used to work in Congress? Did they used to work in these government agencies? I mean, did they have some back room and some back door that they were invited to see like the switching of or the hijack of?
That's a good question. Because the way you hear people speak about it, you would swear they were right there watching them switch it.
Right. You know what I mean? And I digress.
I mean, again, it was just, we're bringing information to let people know as well, is that you can hit the links, look at it yourself, do the research yourself to realize when people telling you fraudulent constitution, this been hijacked, that been hijacked, this is a rogue. Just read it for yourself and you'll realize they're the same two documents.
You know, I guess this is me sharing. Hearing the right to bear arms. I had did some reading and I didn't read this. And reading the Second Amendment where it says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, I realize now, just now, that even hearing a right to bear arms, I didn't take it as some, a right for a person to bear arms. I started equating it to like a coat of arms. But reading it in its entirety, I see where even coming to that conclusion without reading this would have been wrong.
Yeah, they're just talking about the National Guard, state military. Because you have to remember, all states have their own constitutions. All states have the right to protect themselves.
This is correct.
So they allowed the states to set up their own militia for times of war. Because you got to remember, you didn't have like a national army in the beginning.
Right.
That happened over time.
Right.
You had state-sponsored militias that eventually became the military.
Right.
Then, like you said, again, it's when you read it for yourself in full context, you get a better understanding on what it's talking about. Most people think that it only says the right to bear arms, not realizing it's a lot more said after that.
Right. And even with that being said, it's one of those things, yes. When someone tells you something, read it for yourself. Yeah, you just got to read it for yourself. You just got to read it for yourself. You read it for yourself, no one can tell you different. You can have a conversation. They're not going to be able to tell you, though.
You got that right. And you can look at both documents at the National Archives. You can do it online. Or hopefully when all this COVID-19 over, you can actually go see it in person.
Road trip.
And a little thing too on the Bill of Rights that a lot of people don't know. The document is on permanent display in the rotunda. Is the enrolled original joint resolution passed by Congress on September 25th, 1789, proposing 12, not 10 amendments to the Constitution.
Hmm.
Just another little bit of piece of information.
Yeah, click the link because you can see amendments and everything.
You get the whole history of it on when amendments were added to it, when the changes were done, who voted.
Yeah, it says the Constitution might never have been ratified if the framers hadn't promised to add a Bill of Rights. The first 10 amendments to the Constitution gave citizens more confidence in the new government and contained many of today's Americans' most valued freedoms.
Yep. That if it wasn't for the Bill of Rights, you wouldn't even have a Constitution. Now, ain't that something to think about? I mean, that's it. Tonight's topic was real short. Just wanted to read from the Bill of Rights so people can hear it for themselves and have the link for themselves so no one can tell you anything different.
Absolutely.
I mean, if
You know it, you can't unknow it.
Correct.
So yeah, definitely pull that link, read it for yourself.
As a matter of fact, hold on. We got enough time, don't we? Yeah, you know, here we don't mind digging a little deeper real quick. Let me post this link in the chat so you can grab it. We'll take it a little bit further real quick. Greetings, Brother James. How's everything going this evening?
Doo-doo.
Things are going great.
All right, Gabrielle, you can probably grab it from the YouTube chat.
I don't see it.
Oh, you don't see it in the YouTube chat? Virginia Declaration of Rights. If not, I'll post it in the back chat. Give me 1 second.
Okay, I see it. My bad.
Oh, it's gonna get good. Well, Pamela Hall, the one thing about the Bill of Rights and the Constitutions, a lot of this was written with foreigners and our people. Again, America was founded by Indians and foreigners. And the only way you know who is by genealogy. And this is where we have to get out of our feelings and emotions and look at what's real. A lot of people that you would deem to be Europeans, you're traced back their genealogy, and guess what? They descend from American Indians, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
You know, that's the reality. That's the truth. Is that we're going to have to accept that Indians did play a part in this. Not all of them, but Indians did. We know that Indians fought with the British. We know Indians fought with the French. We know Indians fought with the Spanish. And these were Indians fighting who? Other Indians.
Yeah. I got the link up.
All right, yeah, this should be very good.
The Virginia Declaration of Rights. The Virginia Declaration of Rights. Virginia's Declaration of Rights was drawn upon by Thomas Jefferson for the opening paragraphs of the Declaration of Independence. It was widely copied by the other colonies and became the basis of the Bill of Rights. Written by George Mason, it was adopted by the Virginia Constitutional Convention on June 12, 1776.
So again, I don't know if anyone caught that. That Virginia's Declaration of Rights is the opening paragraph of the Declaration of Independence.
Yep.
And the colonies widely adopted this later on to become the basis for the Bill of Rights.
Yep.
Yeah.
A Declaration of Rights is made by the representatives of the good people of Virginia, assembled in full and free convention, which rights do pertain to them and their prosperity, as the basis and foundation of government.
Yeah, a lot of it sound familiar. Yeah, Section 1. A lot of this sound familiar.
Section
I bet you didn't know it came from here, though.
That all men are by nature equally free and independent and have certain inherent rights, of which, when they enter into a state of society, they cannot by any compact deprive or divest their posterity, namely the enjoyment of life and liberty, with the means of acquiring and possessing property and pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety. That sounds really familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Section 2, that all power is vested in and consequently derived from the people. The magistrates are their trustees and servants, and at all times amenable to them.
Mm-hmm.
Am I about to read the Constitution?
This is where the Constitution and everything comes from, the Declaration of Independence and all. When we talk about precedents,
yep,
that there's always a precedent. And
right.
If you do research, you'll find where it really comes from.
Right. Section 3. Section 3, that the government is or ought to be instituted for the common benefits, protections, and security of the people, nation, or community, of all the various modes and forms of government that is best, which is capable of producing the greatest degree of happiness and safety, and is most sufficiently secured against the danger of maladministration, and that when any government shall be found inadequate or contrary to these purposes, a majority of the committee has an indubitable, inalienable, and indefeasible right to reform, alter, or abolish it in such manner as shall be judged most conducive to the public will.
Mm-hmm. Now we cooking. Stick a pin in that though. Letting you know there was more than one government going on at the time.
Right.
I told you it was a good one.
Hold on. It says in that when any government shall be found inadequate or contrary to these purposes, a majority of the community has an indubitable, inalienable, and defeasible right to reform, alter, or abolish it in such manner. Man.
Oh yeah, this is
Right.
gonna help how we got to certain points in time in history.
Right. Section 4. That no man or set of men is entitled to exclusive or separate emoluments or privileges from the community, but in consideration of public services, which, nor being descendable, neither ought the offices of magistrate, legislature, or judge be the heredity.
To be hereditary.
Hereditary.
Meant passed down through family.
Yeah. But wait a minute. Okay. We did this.
Oh, this is showing it. This is showing how we, the people, did this.
Oh my goodness. That the legislative and executive powers of the state shall be separate and distinct from the judiciary, and that the members of the two first may be restrained from oppression by feeling and participating the burdens of the people. They should, at fixed periods, be reduced to a private station, returned into the body from which they were originally taken, and the vacancies be supplied by frequent, certain, and regular elections, in which all or any part of the former members to be again eligible or ineligible as the law shall direct.
Came from the people, you got to return to the people.
Yeah. The elections of members to serve as representatives of the people in assembly ought to be free, and that all men having sufficient evidence of permanent common interest with and attached to the community have the right of suffrage and cannot be taxed or deprived of their property for public uses without their own consent or that of their representatives so elected, nor bound by any law to which they have not, in like manner, assembled for the public good. So we got away from, you know what? All right. Service to others.
There's way more.
That all power of suspending laws or the execution of laws, that all power of suspending laws or the execution of laws by any authority without consent of the representatives of the people is injurious to their rights and ought not to be exercised.
We elect representatives in there, and our representatives vote on what laws and what amendments be changed, don't they?
Yes, without the consent
of
the representatives of the people.
So if you don't participate and someone else put somebody in that place for you and they change these laws to hurt you, again, whose fault is that?
Man. Number 8, that in all capital or criminal prosecution, a man has a right to demand the cause and nature of his accusation, to be confronted with the accusers and witnesses, to call for evidence in his favor, and to a speedy trial by an impartial jury of 12 men of his vicinage, without whose unanimous consent he cannot be found guilty, nor can he be compelled to give evidence against himself, that no man be deprived of his liberty except by the law of the land or the judgment of his peers. Section 9, that excessive bail ought not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. Section 10, that general warrants whereby an officer or messenger may be commanded to search suspected places without evidence of a fact committed, or to seize any person or persons not named, or whose offense is not particularly described and supported by evidence, are grievous and oppressive, and ought not be granted. That in the controversy, Section 11, that in controversies respecting property and in suits between man and man, the ancient trial by jury is preferable to any other and ought to be held sacred.
Hold on, the what trial by jury? The what word is that?
Ancient.
Meaning old, something that man been doing for a long time?
Yeah.
Way before. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Section 12, that the freedom of the press is one of the great bulwarks of liberty and can never be restrained by despotic governments. What is despotic? Despotic, of or typical of a despot, tyrannical. Okay, I don't. What's an example of? Oh, despotic is a form of government in which a single entity rules with absolute power. Normally, that entity is an individual. The despot, as in an autocracy, but societies with limit, respect, and power to specific groups have also been called despotic. Gotcha. Okay.
Yep, just meaning, I'm sorry, I was away and I couldn't get to the button and I didn't want to unmute myself and you hear me scrambling around. But they did not want a king or an emperor. So that's why that's put in there.
Gotcha.
No more kings, no more emperors, no more dictators.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Section 13, that a well-regulated militia composed of the body of the people, trained to arms, is the proper, natural, and safe defense of a free state. That standing armies in time of peace should be avoided as dangerous to liberty.
But now you get to see what the whole thing says.
And that in all cases, the military should be under strict subordination to and governed by the civil power. hold on, that a well-regulated militia composed of the body of the people trained to arms is the proper, natural, and safe defense of a free state. Okay. The standing armies in time of peace should be avoided as dangerous to liberty. Huh. And that in all cases, the military should be under strict subordination to and governed by the civil powers.
Think about it. You don't see the National Guard until there's a need to see them.
Correct.
You don't go outside and just see military posted up on the corner.
Correct.
But again, the right to bear arms, people interpret it differently. But once you do the research and you find out where it originally comes from, you had a full understanding what it's really talking about. It's not talking about individual citizens. It's talking about military, militia, National Guard, protection of states.
Yeah, because even military personnel, even people who are in the military, the weapons that they have, the guns and stuff that they have, they don't get to take them off of base. And when they're off base in civilian world, they actually have to apply for a permit.
Mm-hmm.
Section 14, that the people have a right to uniform government, and therefore that no government separate from or independent of the government of Virginia ought to be erected or established within the limits thereof. Man.
Like the original setting up of state boundaries and state governments.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Section 14, that no government or the blessings of liberty can be preserved to any people but by a firm adherence to justice, moderation, temperance, frugality, and virtue by the frequent recurrence to fundamental principles. All those things have to be put in play. Okay. Section 16, that religion or the duty we owe to our Creator. Sections, okay. That religion or the duty we owe to our Creator and the manner of discharging it can be directed only by reason and conviction, nor by force or violence, and therefore all men are equally entitled to the free exercise of religion according to the dictates of conscience, and that it is the mutual duty of all to practice Christian forbearance, love, and charity towards each other.
But I thought this wasn't set up as a Christian nation. Uh-oh, somebody missed the memo.
But even, okay, it says...
Let's talk about it.
It says that religion, and then there's a comma, and if I'm remembering correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, a comma represents the stop of one statement and the beginning of another, right?
Or continuance.
So it says the religion, comma, and it says, or the duty which we owe to our Creator.
Because people defined it differently.
Okay.
So basically they said religion, which is spirituality and culture blended together, or the straight spirituality, which you would consider the duty to which we owe to our Creator.
Right. Well, look at this.
And this is where your Constitution and Bill of Rights and stuff come from. And this is what, 1776?
Yep.
Makes you think a little different of a lot of these misinformation stories out there where these documents supposed to come from.
Yeah. Read this stuff for yourself because
Please do. It's easy for people to tell you, well, they took it from this document, took it from that document, when you could look up for yourself and see word for word, line for line, where it came from.
yeah, somebody's saying, look, they took it from this, they took it from that. Well, how you know?
Correct. How you know?